Today we are looking at Sphere Playing Cards by Magic and Carta. This is a Magic cardistry deck. Not a Magic deck, this is a magical cardistry deck. It's just honestly beautiful, and you will always want to be performing cardistry with this deck. It is absolutely gorgeous. When I was learning how to perform Hot Shot behind my back, this is the deck that I used over and over and over again. It is an absolutely gorgeous deck, and it handles beautifully, and I will tell you everything about it in this video. So if you like deck reviews, make sure to stick around for the ride, because I perform one every single Wednesday. So if you like deck reviews, make sure to stick around, because I review a single deck of cards every single Wednesday. So subscribe and ring the bell so you can get notified when those drop, and thank you to Magic and Carta for sending me this deck. Now that will not change how I review it. No matter who sends me the deck, that does not change what the deck looks like. So I'm going to tell you how it is no matter what. Let's get into this deck review right now. So first, of course, we're going to be taking a look at the tuck box. Now, of course, on the front of it is going to be the back design of the cards, looking absolutely gorgeous. On one side is going to be the signature, and on the other side is going to be all of the pips for the deck. On the bottom of the deck is going to be a bunch of ad copy for Magic Carta. Back of it, again, is going to be the back design, and on the top says Sphere Cards. Now the inside is all completely blank, both on the flaps and on the inside of the deck. That's all I can say about the tuck box. Let's take a look at the cards. Now normally I don't already show you guys the back design, but not only because it was on the tuck box, but because it's going to make a lot more sense for me to show you now because of how the rest of the deck is set up. So this is the back design. Number one, it is a one-way deck. You can tell when it's reversed. So just for an example, that vibrant red here is not there. You have the green here, but it's not there. Just a couple examples. This is a one-way design. Looks absolutely gorgeous. You have the more marble-looking type thing in the middle with a ring around it, and then the boxed border on the outside. Looks absolutely gorgeous, and cardistry looks absolutely amazing with it. Although if I can perform something that actually looks good and doesn't have you blocking my hand the whole time. Looks absolutely gorgeous when doing that. So let me show you the number cards. Number cards and the faces are all kind of odd, and I did not see this coming, but it makes a lot of sense for a cardistry deck. So here you go. It's going to have the same marble and ring on the inside of all of the cards. You have the value up here with the indice here. It's going to be blue with these marble looking colors up here. So you have the clubs, diamonds, and then the spades and hearts. So the only difference is you're getting a difference between blues and reds. So the blues have a little bit of purples and greens. This has a little bit of orange and yellow. But besides that, it's all pretty much the same. Now this one definitely threw me off. You get your normal two of clubs, right? And normal back design to go with it. Now it's pretty self-explanatory. That's just the normal one that comes in the deck. Then there's your two ad cards. The first one is a two of clubs, but there is no marble. The second one is a two of clubs. And this one only has the marble. And I'm so confused as to why they did this. I truly do not understand it. Not only do, if it only has the ring, it has both of them on the front. And if it only has the marble, it has both of them on the front. And why did they include a magic effect in a cardistry deck? There's literally no reason for that. Unless it's not meant for magic effects. Because this is definitely not a magic deck. At all. You will not be performing magic with this. I already know. Why on earth is that in this deck? I'm so confused. If anyone knows, leave it at the comments and I'll pin it to the top because I'm so confused. If you know, let me know. This thing ain't working up here. Am I tripping? I know it's midnight. I understand that. So I know my brain's not working quite right. But I've had this deck for a week or 2 weeks. I'm not sure how long I've had it, honestly. I do not understand. I do not understand why they did that. So let's move past that. Let's look at the courts and aces. So first of all, court cards are all going to be the same thing. Again, it's a cardistry deck, not a magic deck. Not surprised. Let's look at the aces. The aces are all going to be the same thing. How about the ace of spades? You guessed it. It's going to be the same thing. So the jokers are the only thing that are not quite the same because they say the word Joker. Yeah, so again, the word Joker is all going to be having different colors. But besides that, you get duplicate Jokers. Yeah. That's really all I can say about this deck. It's really simple, guys. If you like cardistry, it's beautiful for cardistry. That's really it. So what you're wanting to know now at this point, as I try to gather up the cards, is can this deck handle well? Because it'd be a shame if you had a beautiful deck and it handled like garbage. So let me show you. Right? So first we're going to see if this deck can Pharaoh. Let's check from top to bottom. That is literally every other Pharaoh. So from top to bottom, that thing is gorgeous. From bottom to top, see if I can get a good cut there. And see that it Pharaohs every other. So fantastic. Literally every other. Oh, that sounded so satisfying. So when you fan this deck, it's going to look good. No problems with that. Since it is a one-way, it's going to have its own flaws. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Number cards are going to look fine. If you fan this out a little bit more, you're going to get a little bit of the lines with it too. But still looks really good. I wish it would have been a one-way design, at least with the outside border. A lot like, which one was it? The Shuckers by OPC, where it has the outside all as a two-way, but then the inside is one-way. Love the way they did that, and I wish this deck would have been the same way with that, where the marble and the ring would have been both a one-way, but then the outside's two-way, so your fans all look normal. But, you know, I didn't design it, so I can't say anything. So, now you know what it looks like. You know it can Pharaoh. Does it handle well? So, does this deck handle well? Well, I can't hand you the deck through the screen, right? I just can't. I wish that I could. I wish I could just be like, you know, I wish you could handle it well. Here you go, right? I can't, but I can't do that. It's true. So there's a few ways that I can tell you how this deck handles. So the first way is how thick is the deck, right? How thick is it? Well, it goes from medium. Medium's here. Goodness. You have thin, medium, and thick. Thin, middle of the line, and thick. So when it comes to that one, which is only the first of two ways on how I can explain this to you, it's middle of the line. It's just pretty much classic stock, straight down the middle, no anything, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's a deck of cards when it comes to the stock. It's classic stock. But when it comes to how it feels in your hands, there's a few ways it feels. You have the buttery feeling. You have the just normal bicycle feeling, just middle of the line. Then you have the snappy or crisp feeling. And you have stiff where you can't even move it. So the difference between that is like, can you perform under pressure? That's making sure it's not stiff. Can you perform hot shot? That's making sure it's snappy or crisp enough that way you can do that, right? If it has too much bend and you can't perform that, then it's probably in buttery. If you're trying to perform this and it's a little bit too hard, it might be a little bit too snappy, right? So, just as an example, here's under pressure. So, super freaking easy to perform under pressure. Same thing with the spring. Freakishly easy. And yes, I know most people do it like this. Just not my thing. So, and then hot shot, right here, bam, super easy. So, where would I put this deck? I would put it definitely somewhere in between buttery and middle line. Does it have a good amount of snappiness to it? Yes, it does. This is not a deck that is over here and excludes this, but it definitely is over in this category. So the thing I will warn you about is if you do something like this and you bevel the cards, now you definitely still get that bend. If you're performing something like hot shot, or you do something like under pressure, which is stupidly easy, you're definitely going to get a little bit of a bend there, and you'll have to unbend it real quick, make sure all is good. So, definitely a little bit in the buttery category, and it might wear out a little bit faster than other decks will, simply because of how buttery and smooth this deck is when handling it. So, it handles like a charm. Handles beautifully, but it might be a little bit too buttery for handling for a long time. If you're going to be putting in a lot of work in this, do not put this deck outside in high humidity or in high heat. It's just a goner if you do. Keep this deck nice. Now, who should get this deck? There are definitely people who should get this deck. There are definitely people who shouldn't. Who are those people, right? So if you're a magician, no, don't get this deck. Just don't. Just don't. If you're a cardist, pick this freaking deck up. Pick this deck up. This is one of my favorite cardistry decks that I own. I wish I would have had this for my top 5 videos so I could have at least considered it for that video. Like, the fact that I'm even talking about that, I really like this deck, and I have a lot of cards, and I literally just got another one of those shelves, and I'm probably going to be able to fill that one up too, right? It's like, I have a lot of cards. I've done almost 80 deck reviews. I love this deck for cardistry. It's beautiful, right? Beautiful deck for cardistry. Is it a collector's deck? Yes. Now, is it like a stereotypical like collector's deck where it's either high on price or high on rarity? No. But is it a deck from Magic and Carta? You can collect all the Magic and Carta decks. This is definitely one of them, right? So again, you can pick that up below. If this is the deck that you want to pick up because it's a cardistry deck, you can pick it up, right? This is definitely a deck that you can pick up, even if you just like to put things that are cool looking on shelves. Pick this deck up. Now, is this a deck for playing card games? No, it's not. Next, right? You can barely recognize the faces unless you're going to be looking up here. There's nothing on the actual face itself. It's all just the marble and ring. This is not a deck you want to do playing card games with. It's just not. So then, is this a hype deck? No, I really like this design. Definitely a lot of intricacies when you're actually looking at the marble and the rings on the outside. Definitely like it. Super cool looking. Not a hype deck. So, again, if you're wanting to pick this deck up, I will leave the link to Magic and Carta down there. Thank you for sending me this deck. Definitely like a lot of parts of it. Don't like some parts of it. Again, it's just me. What do you think of this deck? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is Card Perfect, signing off.